Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. It's quite windy here on the roof. I hope the sound is not disturbed by it. Otherwise, I have my umbrella to hold. It's getting stronger to hold the wind away. Good. There's a tremendous influence trying to keep people into rather low energy, negative moods. And as long as we are playing along, we're feeding the power of it. So what we need to do is to disobey. Disobey that pull into gloominess, into negativity. Everyone who is capable of connecting with the essence, of connecting with the light, is disobeying that pull into gloominess, into depression, into feeling desperate, into feeling angry, into feeling just negative. Somebody just told me today, we have to fight it. We have to find ways to beat that pull, that hypnosis that is there. Yes, but it's not that we have to take up as an individual a fight with that global negative energy by trying to confront it and beat it. It's enough if you are not slipping into that current of negativity. It's enough if we just remember to connect with the essence. To be full of light. That makes our own lives much more joyous, much more beautiful, much more creative, and it radiates. Everyone who is doing that has done the duty of disobeying the pull into negativity. Negativity gets power if we play along, if we go into it. If we get overwhelmed by it and more desperate, that darkness is feeding on that. So let's not give it a chance. Just remember to be yourself. Remember to come back to the now, to that timelessness, to connect with that aspect of yourself that is not affected by that. Then we have done our duty. Then externally, whatever we have to do, we have to do. Each story is different. But this is something essential, which is true for everybody. Sometimes I'm hearing voices, they say it's so hopeless, we are never getting out of that. But definitely we are getting out of that. That beautiful force of light is getting stronger, steadily. Eventually it will be so strong that this simply cannot survive anymore, cannot stay here. But we can contribute by already consciously connecting to that. That speeds up the process. On top of that, it makes our life so much more beautiful. So my friends, never despair. Whatever is going on, we just go about it as joyously, as playfully, as cheerfully as we can. I remember sometimes in Amma's ashram, Westerners who had come and had wanted to come and do a lot of practice, they complained to Amma, said, but we came here for spiritual practice. Now we are always busy and it's always a mess. And Amma said to them, for Westerners who come here, if you are capable to just survive here cheerfully, you have already done all the practice you need to do. She always liked to create difficulties. We always set up the story that it was not easy. So people would confront a lot of their own inner reactions. And now it's the whole world is a bit like Amma's ashram. If we are capable to cheerfully survive, we have done our duty. And if we find, God has pulled us really into darkness, then never mind. You recollect yourself, you come back, you just step out. You just stop obeying that pull into darkness, into negativity. We can do it. We just have to have the alertness to recognize what's going on and then make that little step of turning the attention around. Bring it back home, here now, and relax. Become aware, here now, there is something that is not affected by any influence. All right, my friends, is there anybody who would like to talk? You're welcome to come in.
Hari Om, Werner.
Hello. Now I see you.
Can you
Hello,
hear me?
Maria. Yeah.
Hi.
Irit Mazer, you please turn off your microphone. You're interfering.
Okay, I'm sorry, just a minute.
Yes, you are welcome. Thank you. Okay, Maria, it's all yours.
It's about, it's connected to death, the death of loved ones.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, a dear friend of mine, who had been my husband for 22 years, long time ago, left his body, and it's affected me greatly. It's a very significant relationship for me.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed through this period is that there are like 3 words that can summarize the feelings. One is thank you, the gratitude for the soul, for this relationship. The other one is the regret, the the wishing forgiveness for things that I feel I didn't do, and the I love you. It's like the 3 words of this Hawaiian, the Ho'oponopono, I think it's called, this Hawaiian prayer that says, thank you, please forgive me, I love you. And it's interesting to see it in these last 2 weeks, how basically those are the 3 themes. Mm-hmm. The profound gratitude, the regret, and the deep love, which I already experienced when my father passed away already, also some years ago. It was quite astonishing for me to realize, to feel the depth of the love that I was experiencing towards my father after his passing, not before. So what has this stirred up in me is, fortunately, as I mentioned to you personally, I did manage to say thank you deeply to him before Vijay left his body, and also please forgive me for some of the things I had said to him in the past. So there is in a way a lot of peace from knowing that that was said and that he received it very well, and I could express it. So that feels like a big tick, something that was done well. And now what has raised is the issue about relationships, where basically family relationships, where I feel the wall, a sense of great difficulty being myself, and communicating at a deep level. So it's like, now that I have gone through this experience, I know it's very important for me to drop, I would say, the mask. It's like there are certain relationships, particularly in family, where I feel at one level our worlds are so far apart that my normal self, the one that is communicating, I feel right now here, or communicates with friends who are close to my heart, and cannot express itself easily. So there are some very close relationships where it feels almost like impossible, and it's as if I have to turn into something different in order to connect. But that different is not complete. It feels like a very partial personality. It's like a certain traits of the personality, and we are going into personality, and it feels rather shallow. But I know deep down we have a very deep relationship. So it's like my question to you is, could you please talk about it a bit, about that? I would say the mask, that mask that is in place in some of these relationships, that I know it needs to go for a greater relationship to come through, and not to leave pending things, really, not to leave. I feel it's very important now that, in my case, for instance, my mother is getting old, and I wouldn't want to leave pending. I love you, thank you. So,
Right. Of course, it's influenced now by your just recent experience of that friend, ex-husband, having passed away, and then suddenly you feel, oh, maybe I should have done much more. And so you don't want to repeat the same thing with other people. Anyhow, you have done with your ex-husband what you needed to do, and if there is still stuff coming up and you feel it's not completely rounded up, you can also in your mind present it to him and let it go. Now, for those who are still around, you cannot expect to have a very deep, profound connection with everybody, even if they are near ones, dear ones. then you can have a loving relationship, but still you may have to play along in a certain way. But if you do it consciously, playfully, then you are not deceiving yourself or the others. But sometimes it's just clear that it's not possible with certain people to talk more profoundly. And then if you are talking with them on their level and they are open and relaxed, then sometimes you can also drop in something deeper. But don't think now I must make sure that we have make use of the time that remains and that we have a very profound relationship, that we can have profound discussions with each other. Sometimes it's simply not possible. If it happens, great. But some people are not open for it. And then if you try to push it, then it just gives tensions and it does the opposite of what you wanted to do. So just be yourself naturally, relaxed. Relax when you connect with them, and then spontaneously let it come as it comes. And sometimes in superficial talk, if there is at the same time an energetic connection, something much more profound can happen. Look, when I came back to Switzerland the first time after having been for 12 years in India, I never visited for 12 years. And then when I came back, my relationship with my father had been always tense before. We were two strong heads having different ideas, and so there were a lot of tensions and clashes. And he didn't like my Indian story at all, and was kept on being negative about it. But somehow that I just kept going, did my thing somewhere, it still influenced him. But then when I came back, after that, he told me he was preparing himself and he was afraid there is some kind of religious fanatic coming back who wants to convert everybody. And then I just behaved so totally normal. Hanging out there in the family and blabbing away about things that families are blabbing away. And it completely sort of made his wall that he had ready come crushing down. Previous, we both made walls. And then one would make a little something and the other would make something, and the walls would get stronger and clash. But then I just absolutely didn't do that. I was just relaxed. I didn't think I have to be like this, I have to be like that. Just be natural. And then my father was so surprised, he let go all his resistance. And for the first time in our life, we had a friendship. When I grew up, we had a lot of difficulties. I wasn't an easy guy to deal with growing up, and he was not an easy father to deal with. And then for the first time, we really could also have more profound discussions. But I had not had the intention, I want to have profound discussions. I just came back relaxed because I had removed a lot of stuff that I didn't need to make these walls. And when I was relaxed there in the middle and just talking superficial stuff with them, still somehow there was an opening and energetic connecting, and that is more important than all the profound discussions that one maybe can have. So if you try to force profound conversations, then it may do the opposite. You can just be all natural. And let's say if your mother wants to talk only about superficial things that are happening, then you happily go along with it. Then she's happy connecting with you. And then you have a good feeling and you feel it's rounded up, and at the time when she goes, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, because you really have put into words what I am already experiencing, which I've come to understand a time, not long ago, but some time ago, that it isn't about the content of what we talk.
Right.
It's about that energetic connection.
Right. Right.
Which is that's the depth. When I was referring to a deep relationship, I feel that that really that oneness, the feeling that the other is oneself and is not somebody with different ideas, with different interests, with different, where the emphasis is on the difference.
Yeah.
And yes, I've had also, last time I went home, I had such a good experiences of what you are just describing, that talking about everyday stuff, but feeling the connection,
yeah,
the energetic connection. So yeah, I think, yeah, the key word, what you've said, is being natural. Yeah.
Right.
Relaxing. No, relaxing is the one for me.
Yeah. Relaxing and being natural.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Werner.
Then you also don't, when you go into the situation, you don't have great expectations. You just come and wait and see what happens, and it goes all by itself. And then you feel also that if that connection is there, you feel the story is fine. It's not unfinished business that we have to somehow every detail clear out. If the connection is there, then this is already not more important what happened in the past.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. That helps a lot.
You're welcome.
Hariom.
Hariom. Hariom. Hariom. Is there anybody else who would like to come in?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Leora?
Leora. Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Okay, in regards to this conversation and relationships and expectations, I've been thinking about expectations. It's like me and the other, or the other and me, how we tend to expect, or me and me. Our tendency, or the mind's tendency, or the habits, is to expect, always expecting from myself to be so-and-so and not to be so-and-so, or but specifically when I expect from a friend, or the friend expects from me, let's say when I am going through a difficult time and I call somebody, a good friend, and I expect them to listen to me and to react very in a suitable manner, to react to my needs, to my emotions, to whatever I bring up. And often, specifically when I'm in a very bad mood or state, nobody can stand up to my expectations.
Right, right.
Same goes when I do this kind of negotiation, I would call it, with myself when I'm going through a difficult time, and I tell myself, do so and so, and this is this you've learned, they told you to that, all the practice and all the psychologists I've been to, and so like I have all the knowledge, but somehow no answer will satisfy me at this point. So I've learned to recognize it when I expect from somebody else, and when I feel that somebody expects from me and I just can't be there for, up to their expectations, I'm sad, but there's nothing I can do. So it's a whole part of this magic show, probably.
Yeah. Right. There's, oh, sorry, not finished.
No, no.
There is nothing, you said, there is nothing I can do. Well, it's true. You cannot do anything that others fulfill your expectations. And you may not always be capable of fulfilling their expectations. But you can do something. That when you become aware that you expect that the other, in a way, if you are in a bad situation, in a bad mood, and then you connect with somebody with the expectation that in a way the other person brings you out of it. And there you can do something about it. You can learn not to do so. Not to expect them to do your job. It is, when I'm in a bad mood, it's my job to bring me out of it. Of course, sometimes a conversation may be very helpful, but it's still my job, not the other person's job. And so you can do something about it to work on your expectations. When you become aware, they are there, then you can have a good look at them and let them go as good as you can. Because as long as we are always sending out those expectations, then we are strengthening that idea, that feeling that my well-being is dependent on their well-behavior. And as long as we are doing that, we are very vulnerable, because most of the time it just doesn't quite work. Right. It's not that we have to somehow create a wall, but remind yourself that you are the source of your strength. You are the source of your happiness. You are the source of your well-being, of feeling complete. And then in the play of the life, many times it's nice, it's helpful that we talk with people about stuff that goes through our head, but we can learn to talk in such a way that we don't think somehow from the other something has to come that does the trick. And then maybe more and more you don't even feel much like thinking about talking to others.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right.
And if it happens in spite of that spontaneously, it's fine. And if it doesn't happen, you don't feel the need for it. Whereas the more you feel self-confident in yourself, the more people may come and try and want from you. And sometimes you may be there for them and listen. It's more a question of listening most of the time than of saying things. And sometimes it may not feel right to take now the time, and then you cannot fulfill their expectations. We cannot always fulfill everyone's expectations. But for ourselves, we can learn not to produce them anymore.
And also realizing that if they have expectations from me, as you said before, just relax about it, because it's their expectations after all, not mine.
Right.
Or
You can.
No, just to say, altogether, expectations is a challenging issue in life, altogether.
Mhm.
From the other side, or from my side, or from the shop, from the food I eat. It's
Right. On your expectations, you can work. You can see them more and more and let them go. On the other people's expectations, they will be there. And there, our job is to accept that that is a fact of life, that people do have expectations. And then be fully conscious that you have the freedom to fulfill them or not. And if you fulfill them, momentarily, they will be pleased. If you don't fulfill them, momentarily, they will not be pleased with you. And then there we can accept that's how it is. Sometimes people are not happy with us, but if you are true to yourself, then it doesn't really matter whether they are happy with us for the moment or not.
yeah, because actually, again, it's not about me, and it's not about me. It's not, as you said before to Maria about the energetic, or she said, maybe, I'm not sure, you spoke about the energy around, and also to look very deep into my my possibilities, or I can do the best I can do. But also, again, something about being really honest with myself. Sometimes it's too much for me, the story, what they tell me, or the whole situation is too much for me. And maybe I'm closing up, maybe even my heart would close up sometimes, and I just can't do more than I can do. When I feel when I feel the love in me and the good energy, the positive energy, then I don't have to do much. It's there.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just too difficult. Then I should be honest with myself and just tell myself, maybe you should even take a step back. I mean,
sometimes
not try to do something you can't do, or it's not your natural disposition at the moment.
right. Sometimes when it's clear that it's not on your program that you get pulled into stories, you have fully the right to say, not now, no, I can't. And then people, of course, won't be very happy about it. But then you can learn not to feel bad about that people are not very happy about it. And that you are sure in yourself this is the right decision. And if they have difficulties with that, then, well, that's their problem.
Werner, when you say that we are here to learn,
Yes.
actually, if I'm here only for a minute or two, and I've been learning, but then I go, I die.
Yeah.
So the knowledge, or the teachings or whatever, does it donate something to the universe, to the world, to life of other people? Does it serve, let's say serve, does it serve other people and the universe? And
Right. You, as a being, you are never really incarnated in this world. You just project certain aspects of yourself in this time space. That gives that personality Leora. And then we identify with it and think that's what I am, but that's only a projection And everything that you as a person, Leora, experience and learn is enriching that being that you are. And that enrichment is there. But at the same time, as we are all connected, it's of course enriching the collective. That we are not islands, we are not isolated. So everything, everybody is going through is having an influence on the collective consciousness. And if we learn to be clearer, to be more detached, to be stronger, then we're doing a tremendous service to the collective. And if we keep on just being pulled into self-pity and smallness, then we are, it's also connected with the collective, but we make rather the general story a bit heavier. In the long run, somehow or other, somewhere, this consciousness has to come out of that negativity. And then that again will enrich the collective. So everybody is continuously contributing to the enriching of this consciousness, essentially remaining the same, but at the same time getting richer and more expansive. This is true for you as a being, and that projection that we are incarnated in this world. Whatever we are going through, every little thing we are going through is enriching that being that you are. And that enrichment remains also when this act, this theater is over and you get out of it, that enrichment is there. It's not getting lost. So that being is the first who benefits, but along with that, in a smaller way, but still the whole collective is also getting enriched by all your experience. If we learn to be conscious, if we learn to take all these mechanisms a bit in the hand that create destructive stuff, then we're contributing something very, very beautiful. But even if we don't do it, we still contribute. But if we do live like this, then our life becomes so full and so joyous and creative and meaningful. It's a totally different life, a different story you go through. And on top of that, you bring much more to that collective consciousness.
Okay. Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to talk?
Hello, Werner.
Oh, hello, Dayal.
Did you hear anything about Society of Anonymous Alcoholic, AA,
Yes.
in the
Yes.
West?
AA.
I have a friend from this society,
Yeah.
and she told me many interesting things, and I hear some audio recordings for this, and I find out this is very powerful spiritual way.
Yeah.
It's based on surrender to the God and some special practices, and I see it's kind of very strong if people come to the red line when they have to do something or die, so it's working very strongly.
Yeah.
And I think this way kind of it's similar like any way of surrender, way of devotion, isn't it?
Yes.
It's similar, yeah. So, and I find out it's the way of devotion, it's much more powerful than the way of meditation or self-inquiry, because when you are devoted, you are totally doing 24 hours service or some praying. But when for example, I practice in meditation, I do 1 hour, and then I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So how to combine these two things, and how to bring the God into way of meditation as well? Can you talk about any comments, what you think about it?
Right. I mean, if you do your meditation, even if you have not the idea of God, but you connect with your essence, you do connect with God. If you learn to be consciously conscious, consciously aware of that sense of presence, then that's one direct way of connecting with God, even if you don't have the idea of God. Now, of course, the path that they are offering, the AA, to addicts to get rid of their addiction, in many ways looks very similar to the path that every spiritual seeker is in a way confronting mental addictions that we want to get rid of. That the old habits that always create trouble, that pull us into difficulties, and we can, if you feel inspired to by their 12 steps that they are giving out, how to get rid of addiction, to apply this in your spiritual life, and see your mental addictions, old habits that don't want to let go, then perfectly well. And if it's inspiring you to open up more your heart to God, then by all means do that. But it's not that you have to somehow, because of that thing, I have to do something different in my meditation. If it comes spontaneously, that there is that the devotional feeling there, fine. But otherwise, just what you have been doing, even if you have not obviously thinking that you are connecting with God, but just connecting with yourself, connecting with that consciousness of being alive, with the energy of being alive here now, is also a way of connecting with God.
Okay, but I see the different. After meditation, I feel myself alive, I feel better, more peaceful. But there's still personality.
Yes.
And with this personality, I can continue my bad habits. Some things I can do whatever I like.
Yeah.
But when I surrender to the God, I have this experience actually. I start with Hare Krishna movement 30 years ago. It was my first experience of spirituality.
Yeah.
And it gives me so much impression. It's really good. It's working now, and I was 24 hours with it. Maybe not 24, yeah, but a lot of during the daytime I feel presence of the God, and everything happening by God's will. And I don't need to push myself to practice. And yeah, it's just happening naturally. But I was in this Hare Krishna just for a few months, and then my relatives was against it very strongly, and I start searching more social way, more normal way of spiritual practice. So that's why I see the different how it's working with me. Also with Vipassana, I feel sometimes a lot of inspiration, but it's different. That's what
Right.
I
I understand from your description, there was something more juicy in that devotional feeling.
Yeah, more emotional. Yeah.
Right. And you can learn to somehow bring the two together, that you become aware it's not either one or it's the other. But even in that very abstract practice, very impersonal practice, you still can bring in the devotion to that magnitude of existence, to God. And then you become aware it's not that I have to now choose whether this way or that way, but you can bring the two ways together. They make each other stronger, actually. It was, for me, it was very much a combination. I came from Advaita, very abstract, very impersonal. And then I got into that relationship with my guru. And the whole story around me was very devotional. But I still continued, and Amma very much also kept on. Whenever I wavered and had the tendency to go more over to the devotional side, she would say, no, come on, put me straight back on my Advaita way. But then just being there and connecting with her and relating everything that I did in my sadhana to the fact that Amma is there and she's watching and somehow it will be all right. That devotion was all the time automatically involved. And I understood as the time was passing more and more, two are not in any way opposites that disturb each other. You can very well bring the two together. And if you do that, then your sadhana will become that much the stronger.
Yes, okay, I feel this is possible. Yeah, but I looking for a trick to get it back as it was before. But probably I will learn these 12 steps a bit more, how to say, in details. Yeah, and maybe I will combine this Vipassana. So I'm happy that I find it's different paths working very, very strongly somehow.
Yeah, and you have to know something. When you were there, you started out with the Hare Krishnas. And there is very much that flow that you experienced. And it was like your spiritual honeymoon time. And it feels always wonderful when we start out, great, wonderful. But then, even if you had stayed in the Hare Krishna movement, that just effortless, spontaneous, beautiful feeling would not necessarily have persisted like this, because your old stuff still would have come up and you would have to confront the thing. The honeymoon time would also have ended if you had stayed in that thing. So it's not that you have to think, oh, there I could something and I have to recapture that ability. But okay, thank you very much for that time. It was very inspiring, and the memory can maybe help you in the present to open your heart. But it's not that you have to somehow think, there I knew something, I forgot it, and I have to get it back again. It was also a bit the euphoria of the first period of spirituality, conscious spirituality. Huh?
Yes, it was a big change in my consciousness, and yes, that's why. But still, sankharas have to come, and yes, if I will stay more, I will confront more difficult time. Of course, I understand it. Yeah. So it's just the impression,
right,
that it's more powerful.
But the memory can help you of that time, that it is easier in the present to learn to join the two aspects, that it's not either or.
Yes, I should looking for it. Yeah, because
yes,
I feel I'm in between this or that, sometimes shifting these two paths, and I have to combine somehow. Okay, yes. Thank you, Werner. We'll keep on trying to work on it. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Hari Om, Hari Om. I just checked Mariam's comment. So Is there anybody else who would like to talk? You're welcome to come in. What we have been talking just now with Dial, it's touching a subject that is important, that when we connect with divinity, it's about consciousness. But it's not only about consciousness, it's also about love and about energy. And we can have a preference and focus mainly on one of the three. But somehow, if we really go deeper, automatically it will happen that the other two also have to come in and be considered. Maybe we don't have to do particular practices. If one is on the jnana way or on a more abstract way, then if there is really the experience going deeper, if we are getting stronger consciously in touch with that inner divinity, then the heart has to open. It has to happen. Then somebody may feel inclined to combine their practice with more devotional aspects to support that. But it is also not necessary that one does so. One can also just be aware that this overflowing love is simply more and more there. And when that overflowing love is there, it's for God, it's for all living beings, it's for everything. Then the devotional aspect is simply there without devotional practices. And of course, if that is happening, one will also feel energetic changes. Changes in the body, changes in the interaction energetically, and one can start to do energetic exercises, yogic exercises, in order to support the development of that aspect, or one cannot. Just be aware, this is happening automatically. And the same thing is, if one is basically a devotee, goes on the devotional path, then if there is really the experience unfolding and one is going deeper into that devotion, into honest, sincere devotion, not just an emotional show, then that clarity is also coming more automatically. That awareness of awareness, that learning to be consciously conscious, and the energetic aspects also will come automatically. And so it is on the yogic path or other energetic paths where one focuses mainly first on energy, learning to harmonize the energy that is in the body, learning to open up the knots of energy that prevent us from being expansive, connecting more and more energetically in a harmonious way with the whole rest of the universe, then automatically the heart will open, that love will come, and that clarity and silence will come. We can start out mainly on one path and then on the way include the other aspects with practices, or just be aware. Yeah, they are also there, they're also coming along. It's not simply that aspect I have been focusing mainly on, but the other two aspects, all the three together, they have to somehow become harmonious and develop simultaneously. And then it's really going deeper. We cannot ignore them, push them away and think, no, it's only like this. Sooner or later, the other two aspects have to come in. And how we are doing that, each story is very much unique and different from all the other stories. If the sincerity is there, we find our way. The jnani will also become a devotee and the yogi. The devotee will also become a jnani and the yogi will also become a devotee and the jnani. Okay, I'm asking again. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, you are Susan, huh? Aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have monks met in Switzerland, have we?
Yes.
Yes, in Irmgard.
That's in Zurich, yes.
Yeah.
I would like to come back to the subject of death.
Yes.
Years ago, I gave birth to my daughter,
Yes.
and she was not alive.
Already born dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. What will it say to me as a mother and say to my daughter?
Mm-hmm. I cannot tell you why this has happened. There can be so many reasons. But of course, obviously, it has done something to you that is not yet quite digested. But I wouldn't go on trying to figure out why has this happened. Whatever karma that was for her, for that daughter, and for you, I cannot tell you now what was the reason for that. But it has given you a challenge that somehow in you was there nagging, and it's maybe still nagging sometime. There was a being wanting to be born as my daughter and she couldn't. Why? For what? I recommend you not to ask why, but just when that comes up, connect with the fact of it. This has happened, and then look at all your emotions that come up in context with it. And then see what it is still doing after all these years to your experience right now. Then let it go. That means relax. That means also that you learn to accept, okay, that's what has happened. Because it's a fact, I cannot tell you all the reasons, anyhow, that anything can happen. It has always many reasons that come together for doing something. Something can manifest. So I cannot tell you why this has happened, but it can be there for the rest till the end of your life as some weight that is hurting. Or if you can come to the point that you accept, okay, it was God's will, it has happened like that, then these emotions that still come up, the energy that is still locked in this fact that there has been that being that wanted to be born as my daughter, and she was prevented from doing so. All the energy that is still locked in the fact of that, you can learn to accept that it is so, and see what the energy is doing to your experience now. And then that energy can be transformed into something very beautiful and enriching, not in something painful that you have to carry with you for the rest of your life.
It just happened twice, so it must say something to me.
It is 2 times it happened. I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Look,
heavy.
if there had been a very particular message that you should understand, then you would have gotten that message then and there. If that doesn't happen, then there is no point in keep on racking the brain and think, what is the meaning of it? Then it's a matter of accepting the fact as fact and learn to deal in such a way that it stops being something painful and heavy in your life, but that, all right, somehow I had that connection with 2 beings, but they are free of that human weakness. They don't have to go through all the trouble that we have to go through. So maybe it has brought me a connection that helps me to let go more of all the human difficulties and problems and learn to be more expansive. So when you think of them, think of beings who are free, and the thought of them can help you to make you free in the present, instead of thinking of something was wrong or some lesson I should have learned and I have not learned. We cannot conclude like this. Sometimes a life situation comes and immediately it strikes us. Oh, this want to tell me something, but then it's clear. But if this is not happening, then we are wasting a lot of time and energy thinking, what did it want to tell me? If it doesn't happen.
Searching, I'm looking for, I'm just searching for the sense.
For an answer. Right. I think the answer is not that it gives you, that there is a particular teaching or meaning in it, but that you can make this painful experience into something that helps you to become more expansive by not more resisting against the fact that it has happened, but accepting, okay, not more resisting against the fact that you cannot understand why it has happened, but okay, I cannot understand. Somehow it's God's will. And then if we can accept something that is not easy to accept, that helps us very strongly to open up our own heart, to go deeper in our own self and become more expansive in our experience.
Yes, it closes my heart.
Yes, but we can see that and learn not to let that happen anymore.
Thank you.
Right. I wish you well. I wish you well. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to talk?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
Yeah, I want last satsang you talked with Anita about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I found difficulties in myself in forgiving myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, last days I feel that this feeling of guilt in myself is sometimes it becomes stronger, but I try not to suck in it. But sometimes I see it happens, and today it was very strong. Yeah, I feel guilty to my daughter that I wasn't a good mother, that I could cry on her, hit her, and that now she has difficulties, and it can be because I was because of my behavior. Yeah, and I understand that she has her own experience, and that I was on that level of my development at that time and couldn't control my emotions. And yeah, I understand this in my mind and try to justify myself. But I see that it happens when sometimes my daughter accuses me and I feel pain and regret. And sometimes my parents accuse me and I feel anger and irritation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some emotions come up. Yeah, I understand that it takes my energy, but this question that I have in my mind, how could I do this? How could I behave like this? And I try to answer it and try to let go. I understand that it's no reason to be in it, in these emotions. It can't help me, no my daughter, no one else. But it's
still happening.
It's still happening, yes.
Yeah.
Today it was very strong, yes. And after meditation, it became much better. It became better. Now I feel much better, but I decided to talk with you about it because from time to time it comes up. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah.
You remember when we talked with Anita that more and more it crystallized out forgiveness in a way it's that we learn not to accuse, and then that the accusation is not there. When we don't keep that grudge, if we don't judge, then there is also nothing more to forgive. And with ourselves, it's the same. When you look back and you see, oh my God, how did I behave and how wrong it was, then okay, you may be right that at that time you could have acted better if you had the knowledge, the awareness of today. But at that time, you were like everybody else, somehow trying to cope with the world, with the circumstances, with this life that is given here in the midst of it, and doing what you could from there. That doesn't mean you have to justify. It doesn't mean you have to somehow find tricks and say, no, I was totally right. Sometimes it's totally just to accept, okay, there, I really behaved wrong. I could have behaved much better. But that was then. And now it's now. And that then is only a memory. It's not a reality anymore. It's a story. And we can, when we have still emotions hooked into the past, in that story, then you can let those emotions come up. those emotions, and you can let the guilt come up that may come along with it. You don't have to fight it, but then if you don't fight it, if you accept the feeling of guilt, if you accept the feeling of, oh my God, how is it possible that I was like this at that time? Then you observe that feeling, you connect with the memory, and you relax, and the whole tension that is still locked into it starts to dissipate. Then is then, and now is now. And now is time to be free of it all. And of course, if it happens that your daughter accuses you of some things, and you see she has a point, then it may be very helpful that you tell her, yes, you're right, and I'm sorry that it was like this, but at that time I didn't know better. But I'm sincerely sorry for certain things. There's nothing wrong with excusing, asking for forgiveness, telling, okay, I beg your pardon, but now is now. And you can give her the knowledge that she can now connect with you. And that the present connection, she can get all the love that you want to give her, if she is ready to accept it. And that can heal her past wounds, and that can heal your wounds from the past. It's not that you have to repair somehow something that has happened in the past. Just be yourself here now. Be aware of your own divinity here now. And then when you see things in the story that look, oh, that doesn't look nice, then all right, you learn your lesson from it. You let the emotions that are still hooked into it come to the present, experience them, and relax them. And you get that much stronger. And as you become stronger, you're also more capable to connect with your daughter in a relaxed and open way. But she may not be open to connect strongly with you now, or she may. But you, from your part, can at least, by letting go of the tensions of the past in the present, be fresh and innocent and beautiful and open. And then it's up to her whether she will make use of that, whether she will connect with you in an open way, or whether she is now in her mind and is holding on to the past and says, oh, it's all your fault, it's all your fault. Of course, it's never all the mother's fault. Everyone is responsible for themselves. I know people who throughout their life, they kept that thing that, my parents were like this, my mother was like this, and it's all their fault. And they were living like this and finally dying like this. So it's her job to let go her part in the past stories. Your job is to let go your part. Then if you can talk about it, it's fine, but it may not be necessary, or it may not be possible to talk about it. Just that you clear up your act. That is all that you need to do, and then you are there. And if she is willing to connect in a more positive and a more constructive way, then she will find the possibilities there. But when guilt comes, don't feel guilty about feeling guilty. Then let the guilt come. Okay, it doesn't matter. Feel guilty for a moment. Then see what it is doing. And if we are not resisting, it's not a big deal. then we can see, oh, it's feeling like this in the belly, and it's doing something in my legs and in all the body. And you learn to relax it. Then there is no big deal about it.
Yes, I see, Werner. I'll try.
I'm sure
Yes,
you
I
will do
understand.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I try. Yes, I understand it's important to have harmony in myself. I can't wait that we have harmony relationship. I can't be responsible for her, but yes, I should just feel, I want just feel harmony in myself, that I do right, that I say right, something that from my heart, yeah, and feel this strength. Yes, this is important. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I try. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome.
Hari
You're
Om.
welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in?
Hello, Werner. Can you hear me?
Yes, and now I can also see you. Hello, Moksha.
Hello, Werner. Yeah, what I see in my life is that almost everything is in the background. Fear. It can go wrong. And it is amazing. In little things already, there is stress coming, going to the post. Oh, it can be closed. And it is based all, actually, whole life can go wrong if I look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can go wrong. It's true. but if I look at it, it is no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if I see where I come from with my parents, my mother was always in stress, very stressed. I think it came out of a fear also. And I see, I think I just have, this was my, how I brought up.
Yes.
It is just a habit.
Yes.
And it seems to be the job that I just become aware of it more and more and see, oh, relax.
Mm-hmm.
But it's amazing. It is so normal for me that now I start looking at it. It is in every step I make.
The stress.
Stand up. Yeah, it can go wrong.
Yeah.
It's not so dramatic, but it is a basic stress level, let's say.
Yeah, right.
Not trust. It is the opposite of trust in life, you know.
Right.
In my is a basic thing. Oh, it will go wrong if you don't be really careful.
Right.
And I see that relax, what you say, is really a good reminder for me, because it will go wrong anyhow. I will die, the whole thing will break down. So what's the problem? Yeah, but it needs awareness, like everything, right?
It needs awareness, but the programs that we have been installing already in our early youth, in our childhood, they go very deep, and only slowly, as we become more aware, they can become more and more conscious, crystallize, and we see, hey, it's all the time there. And I was not even quite aware of it. And then that awareness is already the first step, that we can let it go. We don't have to keep on carrying on the programs that create difficulties. And exactly, the best thing of it is to be aware of it and relax, let go, relax, let go. And you said, of course, thing goes wrong. One day I will die. But then there's absolutely nothing wrong in that.
Yeah, that is amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
That is the beautiful message, né? we call it, it goes wrong. If I go to the post, oh, it's just closed and I have to pay extra or whatever. I mean, my mind says, oh, stress goes wrong. But if I look at it, okay, if I pay €5 more or less, is this wrong? Is this a problem? You can call it a problem, but if I look at all this stuff, it is not a problem at all. It is just a habit to call it a problem.
Right. That is the wrong thing. That difficult situations, we make them into problems by resisting against the fact that the situation has turned out like this. Then it's becoming a problem. But if we can accept an unpleasant confrontation, things have not worked out the way I wanted and I would have liked, then we can accept, okay, it's not pleasant, but so what? Then in the present situation, I reassemble myself and do what I can. Then difficult situations don't become problems. They become problems if we hold on to them and resist and think it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this. Then they become big and a problem. Otherwise, they are just unpleasant situations. They come, we deal with it, we let them go. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful. I was reading, I had a very strange happening with a girlfriend of mine. We went in a holiday and everything's, let's say, it was completely different than I expected, no connection at all and blah, blah, blah. And then a habit came up in me like, aha, you don't give me what I want.
Yes.
Then you will, then I can be also a very naughty guy, you know.
Yeah.
And okay, you don't speak with me, I will not speak with you at all, and blah blah blah. And then it went on for weeks, and then I was feeling what it is doing, this habit, in me. And I was reading a card of Amma. She said, "You're drinking poison and expected the enemy to die."
Yeah.
And that I was experiencing all the time.
Yeah.
I could not stop it.
Yeah.
But I was just feeling, oh, and I see, I do this a lot in my life. If people don't react how I like that they react, they will met a different moksha, you know. But this, and to see this habit and what it does, we say often, I have to protect myself.
Yeah.
Right? There's also a sentence in psychological stuff. But I see, I don't protect myself with this. I drink poison all the time.
Right.
Yes.
Of course, when we do such things, then we are the ones who are hurt first. And
yes.
then we can spread the hurt to others.
Yes.
Yes.
But it is really a deep ego thing to, if things are not going my way,
yeah,
then to feel this and to stay open is, I see, my God, this behavior, what I have, I see it everywhere. It's people say also, yeah, of course, if she is doing this, of course you are reacting like this. And people support it, but it is not helpful.
Because yes, people say that's to be human, but that's just a habit. What in the present time people think it means to be human. Yes. They say it's normal, but it's not normal. It's just habitual.
Yes. Yeah, I was also feeling like, yeah, normal. I do it all my life, and I see a lot of people, but it is not normal. It is very destructive.
Yes.
Especially for myself.
Yes.
Whew. This is. But I feel there is this. There's something in me. No, but I have the right because she did this and that. You know, and this is a strong one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There we have to come out of that right, or I have the right. just this thing. Because it's not a question whether you have the right to do so, it's a question whether you stop hurting yourself. And if you stop hurting yourself, you stop hurting others.
And then I become what I want, actually. If I stop to hurt myself and other people, if I hurt people, they become not nice to me. That is obvious.
Yes.
And I want actually nice contacts. I don't want to fight with everybody.
No, of course not.
So that's normally that we don't want it, right?
Right.
Yeah, but this was just habits, right?
Right. It's natural to be at ease, at peace, in harmony. And we have learned in a world that is not functioning natural to be very unnatural. And then we say that's normal because everybody does it.
Yeah.
In my sadhana time, there was a period where the past came very strong, but all about my angers about what people did to me. And then years later, then slowly that became less important. It was just story. But then years later, the past came once more. And I saw more clear how I have been functioning all the time. And it was like, yeah, oh God, oh no. Be becoming aware how ego motivated everything was, even the so-called good things I did. And to see that it gives you a hammer on the head, but it's good to see and then learn to let it go. Not to keep it going, not to justify, not to think, hey, it's my right, it's my right. I'll show them. But no, then that's a question, do I want to hurt myself further or do I want to give it up? And if I stop hurting myself automatically, I will also much less hurt others. It's not natural to hurt.
Yeah, it is good how you put it so on the point. I thank you very much. That yeah, it's great. I just stop hurting myself. That's a very good thing.
Right, that's a good decision. All right. Shall we leave it at that?
So normal that these things look normal. This is good to get clear. It is not normal.
A moment I didn't get all that you were saying. I thought it, but
it is
right. It's not
great.
Normal.
Yes. Yeah. It is a lesson to remember. Not because of everybody is doing it, it is good.
Yes. It doesn't have to be like this because everybody does it.
Yeah, that is, yeah. Thank you very much, Werner.
You're welcome. Hariom.
Hariom.
Hariom. Hariom. All right. We leave it at that for today. Stop the official part of the satsang. Hariom. Hariom. Hariom.